So you suspect that your partner doesn't love you anymore. Is there a way to be sure other than straight up asking them? Sure, there are always signs that can pretty accurately tell you that it is so. And even if they denied it when being confronted head on, it is more possible that they just dread the confrontation and wouldn't like to admit that it is true. So let's have a rapid fire session of 10 most common indicators that your love is dying. He stopped caring about your life. There was a time when he cared about everything that was going on in your life, whether it was who you were meeting with, who were your friends, were there a lot of guys that you knew, were you meeting your family over the weekend, was there a family friend who had a crush on you? You get my drift. And don't even get me started on the work situation. Is your boss male? Are your colleagues male? Do you spend too much time at work maybe? Do you do a lot of business trips? I know I'm exaggerating a bit and steering everything towards the jealousy direction, but you're getting my drift. Once he cared, now he doesn't. And when you make him listen, he looks like he can't wait to find a reason to live as soon as possible. And talking about your dreams and aspirations, you must be joking. He spends as little time with you as possible. Depending on the age and length of your relationships, you could notice this pretty early on or when it is already too late. The problem is that the longer the relationship that you have been part of, the less likely it is you would notice something like your partner avoiding time spent together early on. Most likely you'll notice it when it's too late. Whether you notice it early on or not, this is a pretty good indicator that your partner is no longer in love with you. Having your own space is important in any relationship. But if he's constantly glued to his work, TV series, gaming, his friends and family, the two of you aren't even eating together anymore, unwinding together in the evenings like you used to, then there's no doubt your relationship is winding down towards its end. This kind of leads me to my next point. You're no longer the priority. When a guy loves you, trust me, you'll know about it. You'll be a massive part of his life regardless of how busy his life is or how many other commitments he has, he will still prioritize you. However, if you just realize that you are more or less near the bottom of the list of his priorities, surpassed by the commitments such as his work, friends, family, hobbies, and I bet in many cases even his dog, then his feelings for you aren't what they used to be. His new plans don't include you. There used to be times when he could not keep away from you, and pretty much all of his plans included you. Over time, the initial fire may have stabilized, but you were still a major part of his life. As both of you settled into the comfort and stability of your relationship, you started recognizing the fact that it's okay and even healthy for each of the partners, each of you, to have your own interests and friends, and not just let the relationship take over as it was the case during the honeymoon period. However, the problem is that he's taking it to the next level now with his plans, with his friends and family that you are never part of. They're just not including you into any of that. And what's worse, sometimes you don't even learn about them early on. You may learn about them when they're already happening and you just realize that you were excluded. He keeps himself busy, so he doesn't have to be around you and think about or face up to the fact that he doesn't love you anymore. I know it sucks. Like I said in the beginning, the vast majority of people hate conflict and awkward situations and prefer avoiding them as much as possible. He's not affectionate. Your boyfriend, partner, or husband is no longer physically affectionate to you. Okay, now let's assume that he was one of those guys who had never been particularly touchy-feely. And that's fine. We have actually discussed this kind of guys in another video, which I will link up here. But there would always be something that he used to do that you could class as affection. Maybe he used to snuggle up to you in bed every night or give you a massage. Let you lean against him while you were watching a movie. And now he's not affectionate at all. And this is not all. As it stands, he does not even respond to it well when you try to show him affection either. Either he starts fidgeting, shaking off, climbing up, finding a reason to stand up and get away from you, or outright telling you that he's just not comfortable with it. There is literally no other reason a guy will stop being affectionate with you or being the recipient of your affection, and literally no amount of stress in the world could account for that. If this is happening, that this is a clear sign that he's no longer in love with you. He's not interested in sex with you. Whatever your sex life used to look like, it's now completely unrecognizable. And whilst this is natural, it poses danger in the sense that something a lot more sinister may be creeping in unnoticed. Changes in the amount of sex are normal. It's perfectly natural. There are many reasons why you could go down from shagging 10 times a day during the honeymoon period to a few times a week due to things such as stress, duties at home and out, family and kids, late working hours, mutually incompatible shifts, tiredness, etc. This is natural. That being said, once a couple that is in love has an opportunity to relax, wind down, care about nothing else but themselves, the number of sex increases dramatically. I'm sure this is something that most of you guys out there have experienced yourself. Sex is an incredibly intimate act, and if he doesn't love you anymore, but he hasn't come in terms with it, the reason why he's avoiding it might be because he's worried that this sort of intimacy will completely throw you off or him off. Alternatively, and this is my personal experience, something that I have done in the past, it could be that he's actually hoping that the relationship will naturally die, or that one day you just wake up and instead of him needing to break it up, break off the relationship, you will give him a call or meet up and you will tell him that it just doesn't work anymore. The passion isn't there. Your own feelings have die down, and you'll make his life much easier. You will essentially absolve him of his responsibility to break up. Instead, you do it yourself, and he would hate to have sex with you only in order to mess up your feelings or to reignite the passion. And trust me, this is from my personal experience. Even if he responds, if you initiate things, it's probably pretty mechanical and detached. And whenever possible, there will always be a reason why he can't engage whenever you can. That is a very clear indicator that your love is dying if it hasn't already died. He blows hot and cold. If he subjects you to a roller coaster ride of emotions that is often referred to as blowing hot and cold, he's definitely either falling out of love with you, or for him it is already a done deal. A guy blowing hot and cold is obviously a complex issue, and since this is something that we have already discussed in a separate video that is completely dedicated to this issue, I will link it up here, and let's move on with the next point. He will talk you down in front of others. Now, this is an uncomfortable one, especially so because it happens in the company of others, and most of the people, whether we want to admit it or not, notice things. They certainly notice when a couple is having a passive-aggressive spat with each other, or when the guy makes remarks that should be private, but he instead chooses to wash that dirty laundry in public. And to top it all, he's more than happy to criticize you, your behavior, or make jokes about you in front of others, openly knocking your self-confidence down. He doesn't want to be working on things. Perhaps you have already tried to speak to him about what's going on in your relationship. If he's still in love with you, then his reaction to your concerns should be to explain what's causing his behavior and to talk about how the two of you could work things out. But if he just shuts off and refuses to engage and to discuss the problems between you, then that's a pretty clear sign that he doesn't love you anymore. Guys who love you, even if they haven't realized that something was happening, even if they're so oblivious to your emotions and have been busy with other things, once they're confronted with it, they will do all they can in order to correct things, because they have those feelings for you. It's still, there's still the passion, the flame, the love. But if that died, then why would they even bother? Your gut is telling you something's not right. Okay, so it's pretty clear that our guts don't always tell us the truth. And we can sometimes start worrying someone doesn't love us anymore just because of our low self-esteem. He's If he's having a bad time at work or with his family, then that can cause him to be distracted and distant toward you, even if it has absolutely nothing to do with his feelings for you. But if deep down there is something telling you he's fallen out of love with you, then unpack that feeling and see where it's coming from. Just re-examine everything, analyze things. If it's just your paranoia, then that's something that you personally have to work on. If you're convinced it's something more, trust your gut and think about your next step. Maybe talk to your friends and to your family. Talk to other people who know him and see if they have noticed any changes in his behavior. Whether they noticed some weirdness in his interactions with maybe other females or your female friends or strangers. There could be many other signs that your friends and family can help you with. Your gut is something that is deeply connected to our instincts and intuition. It's kind of like when we notice that somebody's standing behind us and are watching us. We somehow feel and notice those things. So if your gut is honestly telling you that there is something wrong, it could be that you just didn't have time to analyze all of those things in detail, and your gut is telling you that you should. So do it, re-examine, and if you can deal with it, deal with it. If you can see that you can still save your relationship, then do it, work on it. If you can see that you can save it, but it's not something that you can handle yourself, maybe consult a professional. If that is something that you're looking for, we have a link in the description for one of the services that we recommend. Now, that is all for today. I hope it helped you. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Most importantly, press that bell, because if you don't do that, YouTube is never going to notify you of any of our upcoming content. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.